Alright, so I don't know what today's subject is going to be, but I'm at a Starbucks, standing inside. I feel almost normal. These things are like crack, by the way. They're not right. So I'm talking to one of my students, I guess ex-student, I don't know, guy I used to work with, and we were talking about kind of how the game evolves. God, these parfaits, man. They're nuts. We're talking about how the game evolves. I literally can't eat and talk to cameras at the same time. Alright, so that's handled. Anyway, we're talking about how the game evolves. How people who are kind of, they get into relationships, relationship coaching in general. So people get into relationship coaching in general, and they'll come from a place of lack or non-abundance, right? So they'll come in and they'll be like, oh, I'm not getting laid enough, or I'm not going on enough dates, or I'm not getting enough matches on my Tinder, or whatever it is. That's like the initial problem. But after they apply themselves, take some action, go into it, then the problems get more closer to home. The Not the Suburban Boys podcast.
I looked for the Not the Suburban Boys podcast on Spotify, but it either isn't available or can't be played right now.
Alright, so like what I was saying, the game changes as you move forward, and what you feel like you need to do is what? Vlogging. Those are my dancing friends. They also rave. So anyway, we were talking about how the game changes over time as your priorities change. So your goals are, get laid, get fucking attention, get validated, get whatever in the beginning, because you're missing out on so much stuff when you're kind of single. You're paying attention to other shit. A lot of my clients, they really good in business and really good with running their companies or whatever, and they're not paying attention to romance, relationships, social skills, or whatever. So they end up spending a lot of time doing all this other shit and then neglecting this part of their life. So they when they first come to me, they're like, oh, I just need a man who won't cheat on me, or I just need a girl who validates me and is not gonna fucking talk shit to me all the time, or whatever. And that's their current need in the beginning of the study and the trying to figure out all the shit that social skills and dating entails. Well, after you get a little bit of success, your next stage is your goals change. So then your stage changes, right? Like a lot of guys, they don't know where they're at, or a lot of girls, they don't know exactly what they want to put out. They're just kind of following their friends' advice, or following the expectations of their parents or whatever models they have for dating, and they'll try to be something that they don't know that they are. Like they haven't explored that part yet. And I think there's definitely a period of exploration and discovery. You got to try to get out of your comfort zone and figure out what you like before you're gonna settle down on an identity that is real, So then stage 2, they start, getting a lot of success in dating, and then they realize that the people that they're dating don't match them that well. And they're like, okay, well, I keep landing these people, but I'm giving out this energy and I'm getting this back, and I end up unhappy and dissatisfied out of all these relationships. And so they step their standards up again. And this iteration goes over and over and over again, as long as they're trying to get out in the field and date and get a lot of experience under their belt. There's a lot of these, like, moving your standards up, because you'll get in a relationship with somebody and you're like, oh, yep, that doesn't work. And then you drop that, you go to the next one, you go to that and the next one. And eventually you end up having like super high standards because you know yourself a lot better than you did before. And so you'll know what you'll put up with. You'll know your patterns. You'll know what makes you go crazy. You'll know what makes you feel comfortable. And a lot of times there's like kind of a jaded period too, where it's like, okay, well, they're all like this and I'm just going to focus on something else. But if you stay in it, you end up knowing yourself really well, and then you can filter. You can have people kind of audition to be your next partner, and you're not going to just jump at everything that presents itself. And I was talking to this guy today. I had like an hour-long consultation call, and he was just like, yeah, like, you told me as a piece of advice to lower my standards and just talk to everybody because, like, I was making a big deal and self-sabotaging when I was like he would go out and then he would be like, oh, she's not hot enough, or she doesn't look like she's approachable or whatever, and then she'd make all these excuses, and then he wouldn't approach, he wouldn't have a good night, he wouldn't reinforce the fact that going out and interacting with new people is fun as fuck, and then he would just get down on himself and drop into these old patterns of like anxiety, self abuse and depression, right? And so I said, look, you just need to lower your standards on who you're going to talk to. I mean, you don't have to sleep with everybody you fucking talk to. So like, it's not like starting a conversation is going to automatically lead to something that you don't want, right? Like, just fucking talk to everybody and get engaged and involved, because you have to practice not self-sabotaging. That's what you have to get through right now. And so he did that for a couple of months. He calls me and he's like, yeah, man, like I'm in a couple of these cool relationships, and I realize that most of these women, they're like all the same. They respond well to who I am, or they don't. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. This like mastering dating thing is really all about you and your own self-sabotage than it is about manipulating other people, right? So I just want to talk about that a little bit, just because I had that conversation earlier, and kind of make it clear that that's kind of where I'm going with all the new training and stuff. It's like, look, you need to get out there and you need to discover and explore what the dating field is like before you even start setting idealized standards. So your exercise for today is to go out and be social at one way or another. Like, if you have to, drop by, a store or a bar or something that has people in it, so that you can just say hi to people. If you're at the level where you're texting a few people and you need to get them out on dates with you or whatever, you pick whatever your next level is and then just do it, rather than self-sabotage, rather than considering the options and then not taking any action. Because without action, you're not going to get any reference experiences. You're not going to build up your abilities, your skill sets, because you're not practicing, and you're also not going to raise your standards at all, because your standards are ideals at the moment. They're not like real. So that's your exercise today. Go out and talk to somebody. Tell me what happened in the comments below. Go check out David's video too. I think I'll link it right here. And we're gonna come back tomorrow and go kind of deep into some intimacy shit, because I'm kind of formulating something for one of my online courses, and so I'll talk about that shit tomorrow. Until then, stay awesome and have a great weekend, guys and girls and fluid people.
Light up the past just like a cigarette.